Welcome to the Project Lead the Way Collaborative Teaching Training for the 1920 school year. There are three objectives for this session: to review the purpose and vision of our 4 through 6 expansion and Project Lead the Way time, to introduce you to the Project Lead the Way launch curriculum, and also to discuss the logistics and expectations of this collaborative teaching time.
All right, the purpose and vision for this continued expansion of our program for Project Lead the Way involve the following reasons. First, this programming creates an opportunity for engaging curriculum that allows for our students to be hands-on in their learning process, using high-interest content, and participate in a collaborative environment. This program also provides a continued need to build interest in STEM-based careers as the types of jobs in the field continue to be evolving. In fact, by the time our students leave our school system, there will be potentially new jobs not even in existence yet. Another reason for the expansion is that we can support the continuity of district programming. The skills learned in elementary school will help promote the existing and expanding pathways at the middle school and the high school. The earlier we can excite our students about STEM areas, the more likely they are to continue learning in these particular pathways.
The next portion of the training will be dedicated to deepening your understanding of Project Lead the Way curriculum. We're going to do that in 3 ways: by just watching an introductory video to Project Lead the Way launch, and then diving into the activity project problem, or APB approach, to their lessons, and finally by exploring the engineering design process that is part of all of the Project Lead the Way modules.
A vast world of opportunities is available to students today. With new career options developing at an accelerating rate, how do we prepare students at an early age to thrive in this evolving world? That's where Project Lead the Way comes in. PLTW Launch is a K-5 program that taps into the exploratory nature of students by engaging them in active learning and encouraging them to keep discovering with hands-on, real-world activities that allow them to become critical thinkers and problem solvers, ready to take on any challenge. While developing knowledge and skills in computer science, engineering, and biomedical science, students experience how interconnected all their learning is. For example, first graders discover computer science concepts in an unplugged activity in order to learn and experience how this logical thinking is used to program an animation. They then apply that learning with story building skills to create an animation to show their own stories coming to life. 4th grade students, inspired by bumper cars, are introduced to energy transfer and conversion in collisions. They discover a variety of ways that potential energy can be stored and released as kinetic energy, and then apply the new knowledge and skills to build a restraint system to protect a passenger in a vehicle collision. PLTW Launch, activity, project, problem-based learning approach, empowers students to take ownership of their own learning and build understanding and skills to solve open-ended problems. Transform the classroom into a learner-centered environment with PLTW Launch, where students are actively engaged and inspired. Teachers, prepared with PLTW's training and outstanding support resources, facilitate opportunities for active learning, assess for understanding, and help students mastering skills. And expect the engagement and excitement for learning to spread beyond school. Together, we can empower the students of today to become the innovators and creators of tomorrow. To learn more, visit pltw.org.
Next, let's explore Project Lead the Way's APB learning approach. You can see an overview of this APB approach in this diagram. You can see that every module within Project Lead the Way is broken down into Activity 1, 2, and 3, which lead into a project, which then culminates in the overall problem. We're going to let Project Lead the Way's Director of Professional Development give you a more extensive look at this APB approach.
Hello, I'm Ginger Teague, and I would like to welcome you to this professional development presentation. Our goal is to build a conceptual understanding of the activity, project, problem-based, or APB instructional approach utilized in Project Lead the Way curriculum. Our courses are designed using an APB approach in which units of study are comprised of activities, projects, and problems, collectively known as APBs. In the APB approach, a problem is used to frame a unit of study, and hands-on activities and projects provide a scaffold for developing knowledge and skills that are applied in solving an open-ended, real-world problem. As students engage in the learning experiences, they develop competencies and problem-solving abilities. Krause and Voss describe this process as actively gathering information, making observations, formulating questions, and then creating new ideas or solutions to answer their own inquiries. Critical thinking is embedded throughout the process. While problem-based learning can be described in numerous ways, this definition provides an overview of the instructional approach. Problem-based learning is an instructional method in which students learn through facilitated problem solving. The roots of problem-based learning are actually found in medical schools in the 1950s, where the approach was introduced to improve the development of diagnostic skills in medical students. This instructional approach has spread to many other disciplines as a way to learn through solving real-world situated problems and challenges. In APB learning, ill-structured problems are presented at the beginning of the learning experience to set the purpose for learning. Ill-structured problems are relevant and real-world problems that can be encountered in daily life. The ill-structured nature of the problem is intentional so that they resemble problems faced in the real world, where information may be incomplete and goals may be unclear. According to Krause and Voss, students gain important knowledge, skills, and dispositions as they work collaboratively to investigate open-ended questions. This student-directed learning leads to making meaning that they transmit in purposeful ways. The APB approach is designed to provide a continuum of learning for students as they progress from well-defined learning experiences to an ill-structured problem where knowledge and skills are applied. As illustrated in this image, activities build knowledge and skills, projects provide opportunities for meaning-making and investigation, problems offer a way for students to apply and transfer the knowledge and skills as they design a solution to the problem. As shown on the continuum, students move from well-defined to ill-structured learning experiences in this scaffolded design. As students work through the APB learning experiences, they develop competencies that benefit students academically and in career. Competencies are big ideas that encompass the core principles and processes that students need to be successful in academic and professional pursuits. Students develop lifelong understanding related to core concepts and principles that include problem solving and process thinking, technical knowledge and skills, and professional practices and communication. Let's explore the components of the APB approach, activities, projects, and problems, to gain a better understanding of how the learning sequence is designed to scaffold student learning. Activities lead to acquisition of content knowledge and skills that will help students develop workable solutions to the problem. Activities are tied to the desired results established for the learning sequence. While activities may be well defined, student engagement in the learning process is a key component. To provide context for the nature of activities, consider these examples. Activities may introduce or practice knowledge and skills on topics such as simple circuits, using a digital multimeter, or reading resistor color codes. Activities may require research skills that might include reading informational texts on inventions or accessing websites with content information on robotics or energy transfer. Activities may guide students to build or design objects by following directions, such as simple machines or complex machines. Activities engage students in learning that builds on their current knowledge and skills and also develops new knowledge and skills. Projects are related to the problem and provide opportunities for meaning making through hands-on investigations into concepts or skills that will also be applied in solving the problem. A project may create a common challenge that will typically lead all students to the same or similar solution. Project examples include students analyze what goes on inside the human body during each stage of racing a mile. Students may work in teams to design and build a device to automatically record the time and flash an LED when a track runner crosses the start or finish line. And students investigate the cause and effect relationships of magnetic interactions in an inquiry-based project. Krause and Boss noted that students not only make meaning, but also meaning that lasts. Through application, we find that students consolidate their understanding, making learning more meaningful. Problems provide opportunities for students to transfer the new and past knowledge and skills from previous activities or projects in a real-world setting as they design a solution to the challenge. The problem is designed to provide a common challenge that will typically lead all students to create unique solutions and offer the chance to solve an open-ended problem that has no clear or best solution. It is important to remember that there is no right answer to the problems posed in APB learning experiences. Problem-based learning is well suited to helping students become active learners because it situates learning in real-world problems and makes students responsible for their learning. Throughout the unit of study, students develop rich understanding and skills that will be applied to solving the open-ended real-world problems. Problems provide a means of summative assessment where students demonstrate the desired results identified for the instructional unit. The instructional approach is well suited to enable students to become active learners taking greater responsibility for learning that promotes curiosity and thinking skills. As students participate in solving problems, they are actively engaged in developing competencies that are critical in a knowledge-based, technological society. So what does it look like in the classroom? Students work in collaborative groups as they develop an understanding of the problem and determine what they need to learn in order to find a workable solution to the problem. Exploring what has been done by others in the past and using their creativity to imagine possible solutions causes them to inquire, and their investigations require that students grapple with complexity. Student-directed learning is found throughout the process. The emphasis is on conceptual learning rather than memorization of facts as students develop rich understanding. Application and transfer of learning is key to developing solutions to problems that demonstrate desired results. In an APB instructional approach, teachers take on the role of facilitator of learning as they create an effective learning environment. Facilitation requires a variety of instructional and assessment strategies designed to guide and manage students as they engage in learning events. First, teachers must have a solid foundation in the related content so that they can explain concepts in a variety of ways. However, the teacher's role is not to simply disseminate the content, but rather to guide student learning by encouraging student participation in learning activities that are connected to the real-world problem. Teachers should offer guidance by implementing instructional strategies that are effective in a given situation and constantly adjust those strategies to reflect student needs. Although direct instruction is needed at times, in general, teachers should limit direct instruction and input while students problem solve or perform hands-on activities in order to promote student learning and self-efficacy. Good questioning skills, listening skills, and formative assessment strategies are especially important in order to maximize student achievement. The activity, project, problem-based instructional approach provides a way to engage students in real-world situated problem solving that demonstrates desired learning goals. The process provides a scaffold for student learning through activities and projects that build knowledge and skills as students develop the understanding and competencies needed to navigate the open-ended problem. Engaging students in a learning experience that provides a scaffold of knowledge and skills that are then applied to solve real-world problems offers students an opportunity to develop and demonstrate rich understanding. The APB instructional approach fits well with these words from John Dewey. Education is not an affair of telling and being told, but an active and constructive process. This concludes the APB Professional Development Learning Experience. We hope that this resource has provided information that leads to greater understanding of the activity, project, problem-based instructional approach.
At this time, we would like for you to pause the video and read the Art of Questioning document that was provided to you for this training. With the APB approach, the teachers in the PLTW classroom shift from being the presenter of information to a facilitator of the problem-solving process. This document is an overview to the questioning that teachers can present to students to facilitate this sort of approach. Our final exploration of Project Lead the Way curriculum will take you into the engineering design process, where students move in a cyclical pattern through asking, exploring, modeling, evaluating, and explaining.
Hello. In this learning experience, we'll explore the design process as a guide for solving problems. Solving problems is something that we all have to do. Do you have a strategy for solving problems? Engineers often use a step-by-step method as they work to develop a solution to real-world problems. This method is known as an engineering design process. The process is used to develop many possible solutions to a problem and then narrow down the ideas until you find the best possible solution. When engineers follow this process, they work through steps that require them to ask, explore, model, evaluate, and explain their design. Let's explore how the design process works. The first step in using a design process is ask. It's important to understand the problem before you look for a solution. Engineers ask questions to decide what information or skills they need to be able to develop a solution. What information or skills do I have that will help me solve the problem? What knowledge or skills do I need to create a solution that will solve the problem? Another question is, what are the criteria and constraints for the problem? Criteria are guidelines or rules used to judge or make a decision about something. Constraints are limitations or restrictions on the design. Constraints include time limits, types of material, size of design, and cost. As they work through the design process, engineers and designers continue to come back to the criteria and constraints to make sure their solution is acceptable. After you have a clear understanding of the problem and constraints, you are ready to explore. In this step of the design process, think of many different ways to solve the problem. This may mean researching ways that others have solved a similar problem or building your knowledge and skills to be able to come up with a solution. Creating sketches of possible solutions is also part of exploring. The next step in the design process is model. Now that you've come up with multiple ideas for solving the problem, it's time to choose the best possible solution. To help you make the choice, you may use a decision matrix. A decision matrix helps you think about how each design meets the criteria and constraints for the problem. Once you settle on the best solution, you are ready to build a model or prototype of the design. But building a model or prototype is not enough. In the evaluate step, you test your model to determine how well your idea solved or did not solve the problem. You evaluate your design by testing it to see how it works. In this step, you test the model and record the data. The explain step of the design process involves sharing your design and the results of your testing. In this step, you get to show how your model solves or doesn't solve the problem. You may create a presentation or demonstrate your model. It's important to understand that not every idea works or works perfectly. If your solution did not solve the problem, you may ask, how can my model be improved? Engineers ask this question in their work. As they seek to improve their ideas, they continue to follow this step-by-step plan. You too may have to go back to explore other ideas before you find the best solution. An engineering design process provides a step-by-step way to solve design problems. As you work through Project Lead the Way modules, you'll have the chance to use this process to develop solutions to real-world problems. These steps will be a guide for your work. Ask, explore, model, evaluate, and explain.
Starting this school year, students in grades 4 through 6 will be attending Project Lead the Way twice a week for 50 minutes. This allows us to get more STEM instruction out there and to also increase the number of next generation science standards that are going to be covered during Project Lead the Way time. For more information about which next generation science standards will be taught in Project Lead the Way time versus by the classroom teacher, you'll find that information in your grade level PLC on Schoology. Just navigate to your PLC, click on Resources, choose the Project Lead the Way folder, and click the Project Lead the Way NGSS Standards Documents link. When you click on this link, you will get a folder with links to all the K-6 Science Standards documents. Click on the document for your grade. The document will show you which standards are to be taught by the classroom teacher versus the Project Lead the Way teacher. So now let's review how those standards will be covered in the Project Lead the Way time at each grade level. In 4th grade, those standards will be covered through 4 Project Lead the Way modules over the course of the year. So that means 4th graders are getting their 2 engineering, 1 biomedical, and 1 computer science module. In 5th grade, students will receive 3 Project Lead the Way modules, 1 biomedical, 1 engineering, and 1 computer science. Additional time during 5th grade will be spent covering additional science standards through Mystery Science. In 6th grade, students will be completing a final launch module called Robotics and Automation Challenge. They will also be engaging in a Project Lead the Way Gateway course, which is designed for 6th through 8th grade students called Flight in Space, and additional time will be for covering science standards through Discovery Education.
Okay, so I want to briefly now review what the expansion will look like. This was shared last semester of the previous school year. I just want to remind everyone that Project Lead the Way launch teachers will facilitate 2 classes per week in grades 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. One of those classes, they will be alone and working as normal. The second session, or as deemed by your building schedule, the other session will include the classroom teacher being present in the Project Lead the Way classroom to assist in this collaborative teaching model. We're going to use the One Teach, One Assist model. It's research-based and will provide some of the framework that we're needing in regards to what the expectations are for both teachers in the classroom. The One Teach, One Assist model is a strategy that serves as one teacher primarily providing the instruction while the other teacher assists students with their work, monitors behavior, or corrects any assignments, is there to answer different types of questions. The benefits of this program include that it's a good model to use when you're at the beginning stages of a co-teaching implementation, this is what this is. It's also one of the more simplified models of co-teaching, and it also supports the limited time that we have to co-plan together these lessons. The other benefit of the one teach, one assist model is that for purposes of teaching Project Lead the Way courses, one teacher, the Project Lead the Way teacher, is formally trained. We cannot implement any type of Project Lead the Way curriculum without the formal training that our Project Lead the Way teachers have participated in. This is another reason why they must be the lead teacher in this particular programming. Okay, I want to now review what the roles and responsibilities are in the Project Lead the Way classroom. As part of the framework for the collaborative teaching model, you'll see this table on the document that explicitly explains what the responsibilities are for each teacher involved in the collaborative model. You will see that a lot of the tasks do overlap and that both teachers are responsible for supporting students. However, I do want to highlight the things that are just the responsibility of the Project Lead the Way teacher, and that will be leading and the instruction in the modules, as they've been the ones that are formally trained through Project Lead the Way. They will be the ones setting up classroom procedures, as we'll want to provide consistency for all the classrooms coming into the Project Lead the Way room. We want to make sure that everybody understands that administering of Project Lead the Way assessments will be guided and facilitated by the Project Lead the Way teacher, and the classroom teachers will assist as needed and as directed by the Project Lead the Way teachers. Also, they'll be responsible for sharing their curriculum framework with the classroom teachers. I know many of the classroom teachers are wanting to know what the lesson objectives are and see what the framework of the lessons are. Megan's going to briefly describe where you can find those documents to be able to support building your capacity of what your grade level students will be learning during those modules. Because you will not be in there every day, you'll want to know kind of what the topics are being shared on the Project Lead the Way days that you are not in the classroom. So we're hoping this will help facilitate that piece of information so everybody's on the same page.
To further enhance your understanding of Project Lead the Way curriculum and to support you as you attend class with your students, we've added some additional resources to your Project Lead the Way folder within your district PLC. The first is this module quick reference guide that you can access by clicking here. Once you are in the document, you will see that it is a quick overview of the activities, projects, and problems that take place in each module in Project Lead the Way. It tells you a general overview of each activity, project, or problem, and also the time that it will take for that to be completed during Project Lead the Way. In addition to the quick reference guide, you will also be provided curriculum frameworks for each of the modules that are happening during Project Lead the Way time. You will find these curriculum frameworks within the Project Lead the Way folder, in the folder that this arrow is pointing to. Curriculum frameworks will provide a much more detailed scope and sequence of every Project Lead the Way module. While you won't see them yet in these curriculum frameworks folders, they will appear throughout the course of the year. You're now done with the video portion of the training. To complete the training, navigate to the Project Lead the Way Collaborative Teaching Training form, which should be located directly beneath this video. Click the Google form, complete it, and your training will be done.